my goodness, I'm glad the Chiefs won that game. Holy cow. Oh. I just think it's okay to admit that maybe there were some nerves at some point. It wasn't just me. No, it wasn't just me. I was on Twitter. I was reading the group chats. I was seeing the texts. I know how you felt. There were so many times yesterday when it seems like the Chiefs had one last chance to keep the true purpose of their season alive. And after several last chances, they got it done. Oh, I always knew Chiefs-Colts was going to be a headache. We always knew that Chiefs-Colts was going to be a stressful game one way or another. But even in this particular rivalry, in this particular matchup, that had some new stuff. Some good, some not so good. But the result is what matters. The Chiefs beat the Indianapolis Colts 23-20 in overtime. Needed about, 68 minutes or so to lock that game up, and I'll take it. This is Everything Else with Joshua Brisco. I'm Joshua Brisco. Tucker D. Franklin's on the other side of the table because we're in person right here at the Majestic. Of course, Everything Else is brought to you by KC Cannabis Company, but we've got our regularly scheduled drop by here at the beautiful Majestic inside the historic Fitzpatrick Saloon building, packed with more than 100 years of Kansas City history. I've told you, but it's so cool, and I think I'm going to be back again out here later this week, explicitly not working. It has been a saloon, a speakeasy, a gambling den, a house of ill repute. Jazz legends, political bosses, gangsters, they've dined here. They've enjoyed the beverages. Look at this. We even got our friends at Holiday right here. Bottle and bond, right on the table. It's an unbelievable place. The vibes here are so cool. There are just not a lot of places in the world that feel quite like this. Plus, they've got live jazz 7 nights of the week. The Pendergast Cigar Lounge Tuesday through Saturday, one of the largest spirit selections in the city. It's always a very, very cool thing to come out here and to get to do a live show here from the Majestic. You can book them on opentable.com. You can get all the links and more details on their website, majestickc.com. Thank them again for being wonderful hosts for the absolute silliness that Tucker and I will bring here for a special edition of Everything Else. And this one, man, again, just simply could not feel a whole lot better. Look, the Chiefs have some problems they've had all season that nearly, not quite officially ended their season, but nearly tested their capacity to get through what could have felt like a bit of a funeral dirge the rest of this week on a short week, going up against a Cowboys team that actually got it done in their own right last night. Ultimately, I think there is one specific, overarching, vitally important thing that was proven in Chiefs-Colts. This is my biggest picture takeaway. This is the one thing that I bet you already know. I bet you have already felt this in a way that you have begun to process. Maybe you thought about it in these terms, maybe you haven't. But I think as soon as that kick went through the uprights, the first time the Chiefs led the game all day, by the way, they led that game for 0 seconds and won the game. We didn't know if the Chiefs could still do that. We didn't know. We hoped they could still do it. We know they have done it many, many times in the past, dozens of times over the Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes era, specifically thinking about the offense. They did it like a dozen times last year looking at those one-possession games, but we didn't know if this 2025 version of the Kansas City Chiefs, if they would be able to pull one last rabbit out of the hat. If they would be able to access whatever that final intangible thing is that takes a fine middle-of-the-pack football team and makes them a Super Bowl winning football team. And it was not easy, and it was not guaranteed yesterday. This wasn't a roll out the ball and thump the Raiders kind of game, obviously. This was a legitimate AFC contender and a team that's trying to prove that they still deserve that spot as a true, actual Super Bowl contender in the AFC, despite the fact that you can have some questions about their quarterback, despite the fact that there are a bunch of new faces, despite the fact that we haven't been used to seeing a team with the horseshoe on the side of its helmet being a real threat since Andrew Luck. All of that added up to what was going to be a true litmus test for the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead yesterday. The optimism that I am going to spout and the positives from that game will not undo the fact that this team should not have lost in Denver. It's not out of the picture, but it's still very unlikely that the Chiefs are going to be able to get themselves back into the race for the AFC West. That was the consequence of not having a better day against, air quotes, Bo Nix and that Denver Broncos team. The Chiefs' offensive issues have cost them this year. They nearly cost them against Indy. But if I have to watch 60 or nearly 70 minutes of football, I'm going to use that entire hour and change to build the full picture of what these teams are. No, the Chiefs should not have been down 20-9 at the start of the fourth quarter. No, it shouldn't have still been 20-9 when the Chiefs gave the ball back to Indy at the 6-yard line when Kareem Hunt gave it back. The Chiefs had opportunities. They had easier paths. They took one of the harder paths to a win that you can possibly take. But they did it. We've talked now for weeks about how the results are just more important than the process right now. And I do actually think most of this process was good. So the most important thing from Chiefs Colts is that we just hadn't seen the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs do this in a while. If at all this season, really, kind of depending on where you want to draw that line. They had other important wins earlier in the season. But as the season was getting pretty close to life support, hey, you've got, 9 minutes, something like that, to turn this season around. Are you going to do it? They were able to. Fourth quarter and overtime we're going to talk more about, and I'm actually going to spend more time on the defense in that section. But the offense is the thing that we've had the questions about. The second most important thing from this game is that they kind of thumped the Colts. Not in a way that mattered, honestly. Again, thumping the Colts and losing that game would have been the same exact thing we've been talking about for weeks. Where we say, well, the underlying stats actually say the Chiefs have been pretty good. The offense is pretty good. They should be better than the record says they are. We've been saying that now for a while. And it's true, but it doesn't matter. There's a lot of stuff like that in life, right? I think I'm about to go into a Colin Cowherd situation. Like when you did vacuum the house, but then your spouse gets home and they see a leaf that blew in from outside. It's true that you already vacuumed, but you missed a spot. So the truth doesn't really matter. It's the herd. I don't do a lot of those analogies. I feel like I should do more of those. I do them in real life all the time. Much to Renee's chagrin, probably. I love an analogy. Then I kind of get away from them when we're actually talking about like sports things and doing radio. I don't know why. But it was true that the Chiefs' offense was better than the record showed. It's true that, hey, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, this offensive line, this should be combining for more production than it has been. It's better than the stats. It's better than the record shows. The stats prove it. It doesn't matter if you don't win because you can have great stats at home in mid-January. So they did pull this off. We would continue to be having the same conversation if they lost this game and they go, man, they outgained the Colts 1,000,000,000. They ended up running 96 offensive plays. Creed Humphrey, Josh Simmons, Kingsley Suamataia, Jawan Taylor, and Patrick Mahomes played 96 offensive snaps. Chiefs defense was out there for 51. The Chiefs were out gaining the Colts, out first downing the Colts. you watch it with your eyes and you go, I can tell which of these teams is better right now. Then you look at the scoreboard and say, I wonder how that happened. The Chiefs still have to own their own penalties and turnovers and mistakes. But if the Chiefs and Colts played again tomorrow, I don't think it's going to overtime. That game was a heart pounder because of a cartoonishly bad start with the RPO INT, which is effectively a pick six. And then because of a very weird, out-of-character Kareem Hunt fumble in the red zone. I meant to go back and watch the replay of that. In real time, it looked like Josh Simmons kind of punched it out, just like the way that the pile was all crumbling together. You also have a face mask against Juwan Taylor that wipes out the Travis Kelce rushing touchdown. That's a 4-point penalty. It wasn't a face mask. His hands were kind of high. I understand how it gets called. I was angrier about it then than I am now, partially because they won, and so it worked out okay. The bad news is that they might make all of those same mistakes again and lose a playoff game because of it. That's entirely on the table. The Chiefs can make all those mistakes again against Dallas on Thanksgiving and lose because Dallas has a better answer offensively. They might make those mistakes against Houston and have a Houston pass rush just eat them alive, or the Chiefs' offense doesn't get those final opportunities. They might go out on Thursday in Dallas and look like a team that did just run 96 offensive plays 4 days earlier. Travis Kelce played 84 snaps against the Colts yesterday. According to my scrubbing through Pro Football Reference and their keeping of snap counts, 84 snaps yesterday is the most that Travis Kelce's played in a single game since 2018. We had 85 snaps against Baltimore in December of 2018. He is 36 years old. Pro Football Focus had him with 84 in Week 9 of 2022. But Pro Football Reference had him at 83, and it's slightly better for my narrative to use the Pro Football Reference ones, so you can fight amongst yourselves. I think PFF might include snaps that were taken away by penalty, would be my guess there. Which I think would also include more snaps yesterday that he actually played than what ends up in the official scorebook. So, all that to say, 36-year-old Travis Kelce played 84 snaps. Xavier Worthy on a bum ankle played 74. Kareem Hunt. We could take a break right now. I could say his name 10 times. We could just call that the show. Kareem Hunt ends up with 30 carries in this game. I don't know if we can properly explain how unlikely the last year and change of Kareem Hunt has been. At every level, it's one of the most unlikely stories in recent Chiefs memory. And that sounds like an exaggeration. It's not. From the way that his career started here, fireworks, what a player, to the way his time ended in Kansas City, disgrace and confusion and shame and all of it. And he ends up in Cleveland and bad stuff happens there and he's on the couch and the Chiefs have an injury to Isaiah Pacheco. And this reunion comes together. And then Kareem Hunt steps in and kind of doesn't miss a beat. He's not the same runner that he was. But he comes in and he keeps the offense moving. And then he, by and large, carries the ground game last year when the offense was not working the way you wanted it to, without Rashee Rice, with a rookie Xavier Worthy, without Hollywood Brown. And then this year comes around and they re-sign Kareem Hunt. Okay, well, I guess it makes sense to have him in the mix. Let's see how it goes. Well, another Pacheco injury. Not a lot of other investment in the position. Elijah Mitchell doesn't really turn into anything. Brashard Smith is in the offense, but not really ready to be a true running back in the offense. All right, man. We're in a gotta-have-it-home game on November 23rd against a good rushing defense, by the way. The Colts are not the Bills in that regard, which makes that game even more frustrating. I digress. Hey, Kareem, you got 30 carries in you to be our first 100-yard rusher of the year? If you can do that, maybe we can win this game. What's crazy is that the Chiefs didn't really They didn't run the ball at a significantly higher percentage than usual. They just ran so many plays. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball 46 times, but I'll tell you what, like that's not a backhanded insult. I'm really glad that he didn't throw the ball 56 times to 20 carries for Kareem Hunt. Probably would have had fewer plays overall because you weren't moving the sticks the way that Hunt was. Getting yourself into some better short yardage early down situations. The fumble is terrible, obviously. And if he would have lost that, if that would have been the end of the season for all intents and purposes, or certainly the end of the game, it would have been a really, really rough way for Kareem Hunt to end what was ultimately such an important performance and an important season for him, as last year was as well. So none of the praise that I think this team genuinely deserves, none of the praise erases the possibility that they might not be able to do the thing again in another week or 2 or 3 or in the playoffs when they need to. But more than at any other point this season, you believe that they can because they have. And ultimately, as glad as I am that Hunt goes for over 100, that Rashee Rice ends up going for 141, which, by the way, at halftime, I'm going to have to scooch the box scores around again. At halftime, Rashee Rice had 3 catches for 9 yards. That seems wrong. I just looked at Tucker because I was like, wait a second, is that wrong? This says first half, 3 catches for 9 yards on 7 targets. Rashee Rice was not having a good game. He did not have a good game in Denver. And I don't know that it had all been Rice or that it had all been coaching. I think it's a mixture of both in some level of kind of being able to go like, okay, so where are we at in the Rashee Rice experience? Is he your number 1 alpha who's going to take the baton from Travis Kelce? Or is he another cog in the machine that just works in a specific role? What's it going to be? And obviously there was never any need to rush to a conclusion on that, but that was the question that I was asking, some publicly and some privately. Okay, what's the Rashee Rice plan? What do the Chiefs believe that he's capable of doing? Well, in the fourth quarter, Rashee Rice goes 4 catches, 90 yards. And then in overtime, he has the 1 for 21. Similar for Xavier Worthy, by the way, just clearly not physically right. Clearly, like, was throwing it through his helmet in pain on the sideline at one point, and just not where he wants to be physically. You had guys make the plays down the stretch. That was the question. Why haven't you been making those plays this year? I think the answer is that football is hard. The other team gets paid to not let you make those plays. These players aren't perfect, but it's weird to see Patrick Mahomes not be perfect. And in something that felt pretty close to an elimination game, or at least a game you have to be able to in any way like really control your destiny the rest of the way. At the very end, the Chiefs found stuff that was working schematically. Patrick Mahomes was throwing some laser beams. His pass catchers didn't let him down. The running game picked him up. They had to do a lot of that without Trey Smith. I'm so glad to have seen the Chiefs offense do what it did in the fourth quarter, in overtime, after failing to do some of those things earlier on that put them in that hole. With all that being said, everything about the offense is kind of, pun intended, here at the Majestic on our beautiful video setup today. Everything I've said so far about the offense is kind of table setting. We've got the beautiful napkins. We've got the beautiful cutlery. We've got these white tablecloths here at the Majestic. The proverbial structure of this building, the beautiful roof, all of the art on the walls, these incredible old bars, everything that you look around in here and go, man, this place is like really unbelievable in a way that truly, like, you have to see to fully appreciate, and it continues as you go upstairs, it continues as you go downstairs. It's an unbelievable place here. The table setting is nice, but this game belongs to the Chiefs' defense. The walls and the supports and the old ceiling and the light fixtures and the art. Tip your cap to Steve Spagnuolo, to Chris Jones, to a pass rush that has, frankly, not been good enough this year to get to where they want to go. It's almost comical. This would have been a completely unreasonable thing to ask of maybe any defense in football, but certainly unreasonable to ask of a up and down defense against what has been an absolute wagon in the Indianapolis Colts offense that has been setting the tone all season. The Chiefs' defense gave up 13 points in this game. The RPO interception that's basically a free touchdown, that shouldn't be on their conscience. So you get to halftime, and it's 14-9. You go, okay, well, that's because the Chiefs forced a 3-and-out, gave the offense the ball back. The Chiefs got to drive down. They end up settling for another field goal. Fine. Another 22-yard field goal from the 4-yard line. Delightful. Halftime comes, 14-9. Chiefs come out, 3-and-out. Ugh, so much for a double dip. Instead of a double dip, you got a red zone field goal and a 3-and-out. Brutal. The Colts don't need to get much in terms of yardage to get into field goal range because the Colts lived in great field position while the Chiefs lived in hell field position-wise in this game. The Colts get 49 yards. The defense bows up there. They kick a field goal, 17-9. Chiefs offense comes out 5-and-out this time. Great. Colts go on a longer field goal drive, but the Chiefs once again do hold up at the end, force a short field goal from the 5-yard line. That's massive, by the way. That's the last time the Colts scored in this game. We didn't know that was going to be the case, obviously. That red zone field goal forced by the Chiefs defense, massive. So that's 20-9 in the fourth quarter, and the season's on life support. They pick up 60 yards in 4 plays. And then Kareem Hunt loses the ball in the red zone. At that point, not only do you have no margin for error, you're like asking the defense to really do something. And as strange as it is that the Chiefs' defense has been good, but just can't force turnovers with any sort of consistency, like more so than the rest of the NFL, it seems. I don't know if that's schematic, if it's the players, if it's a choice to try to keep yourself from being feast or famine. But the Chiefs' defense has been good enough to support the Chiefs' offense this year. And I should say 4 years. And many times they've been actually like winning those games. So from the moment that Kareem Hunt loses the football in the red zone and the Chiefs are down by 11 points and the season just feels like it's on the brink in every possible way, the Colts lose 2 yards while going 3-and-out. The Chiefs force a punt from the end zone, and the Chiefs get, believe it or not, decent field position because of that. The Chiefs go on the touchdown drive. They get the 2-point conversion. It's a 3-point game. You're now asking the defense again, hey, you can't give up much here. The clock is running. The end is in sight, and we're still down by 3. If there's a time for the Indianapolis Colts to prove that they're legitimate, to prove that they should be a team that can do this, here's your chance. What happened? 3-and-out. The Chiefs get the ball back, down 3. And the Chiefs go 3-and-out again. They lose a yard on 3 plays. And the defense says, okay, maybe we can do this one more time. The Chiefs' defense forces their 3rd consecutive 3-and-out in the 4th quarter to give the ball back to the Chiefs. The Chiefs get the ball. They drive 87 yards and settle for a field goal to send it to overtime. Sorry, defense. How about one more? 3 and out. Chiefs get the ball, drive down the field, kick a field goal, Chiefs win. The last 4 possessions of the game, the Chiefs defense forced 4 3-and-outs. It's not quite the same as forcing a turnover on every one of those drives. Again, the field position's different. You're letting them punt instead of stealing the ball. But that's about as close as you're going to get. That's about as good as it possibly gets. Bill Barnwell wrote it up this way. Here's what the Colts did on their last 4 possessions. Run for -2 yards. Incomplete punt. Next drive. Incomplete. 7-yard completion. Incomplete punt. Next drive. Incomplete. 6 yards. Punt. Next drive. 4 yards. 5 yards. Run for -2. Punt. Nick Jacobs tweeted out per Next Gen Stats, the Chiefs pressured Daniel Jones on 40.6% of his dropbacks. Jones completed just 6 of his 13 attempts against pressure for 47 yards and a touchdown from inside the 5-yard line. Ben Solak, hats off to the Chiefs defense. Colts entered the game averaging 3.17 points per drive and score 20 points on 11 drives today. 1 touchdown was on a turnover inside the Chiefs' 10. They had a 40.6% pressure rate and 5 unblocked pressures. Best pressure game since the Ravens matchup. I just remembered one more that I was going to grab if I can find it off my phone here. I believe it or not, this is never intentional. I saw it on Threads. I'm never intentionally on Threads. But sometimes you open Instagram and it's like, hey, how about you come over and look at our other app? And here, by the way, here's a really confusing-looking tweet that you're going to want to click to figure out what's going on, but then you're going to click it and you're not really going to understand. That's how I found this thread from Mina Kimes. Story of the Chiefs win. That's the best that the pass rush has looked in a minute. 4-man rush had a 35% pressure rate, and the blitzes were much more effective. I've had my nitpicks with pressure rates and percentages and all of that this year because it seems like some of those numbers have felt like the Chiefs have had better overall pressure numbers than they've had affecting the quarterback numbers, if that makes sense. That wasn't the case yesterday. You saw Daniel Jones get uncomfy, and that's what you have to do. It's what you needed to do against Bo Nix, but it's what you did against Daniel Jones. I don't think you can say too much about the Chiefs defense in that game because look, it's a 13-point allowed effort for all intents and purposes, and they ended it with 4 consecutive forced 3-and-outs. And the Chiefs offense needed every single one of the opportunities that provided. It's just such an impressive performance. And final thing, at this level here, this is the same thing they were doing against the Broncos. Not quite to this extent, but you get a 3rd and 15 where you don't make that play, and that's enough when your offense isn't holding up its end of the bargain. That's enough when the Broncos offense just is able to find one more play there. That's the difference between what happened against the Colts and against the Broncos. That's how fine the margins are. When you say, well, but why sometimes? Why, hey, Patrick Mahomes we saw showtime in the 4th quarter and overtime. Absolutely. You weren't going to have an opportunity to see that if you didn't see Chris Jones having his best game in a minute. Steve Spagnuolo having his best game in a minute. The 4-man pass rush having its best game maybe of the year. And it is just so good to feel good about where the Chiefs stand now. Thanksgiving will not be easy. The rest of the season is no guarantee. They did not clinch a playoff spot yesterday, not by any stretch of the imagination. They're actually at the 10 spot now in the AFC, and it's the best I felt about the Chiefs in a month. Maybe slightly under a month, but certainly since the moment the Bills game ended. They had to have this one. They got this one, and it's never felt so good to watch Patrick Mahomes be 6-5. But you've watched the AFC. We'll talk about this more with Tucker here hopping in a second. You've watched football this year. You know how it goes. You remember what happened in Chiefs-Eagles early this season? I do. I don't want to talk about it. I watched the Cowboys beat the Eagles yesterday. If the Chiefs beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. In fact, I assume they're favored. They probably should be. There's no transitive property. There's no Ouroboros. There is only the ass list and what you see with your eyes. That's the NFL in 2025, and it's kind of awesome as long as it's a Monday after your team wins. Everything else is brought to you by Kansas City Cannabis, and boy, do I have some deals and some news for you. You can check them out online at kccannabis.com, of course, for adult use only, 21 and over. It's just around the corner, 2 days from now, or if you're listening to the podcast, maybe it's tomorrow. Green Wednesday is November 26th, and you got Black Friday on November 28th. The entire store is 25% off at Kansas City Cannabis. They got doorbusters and raffles both days there as well. Plus, on Cyber Monday, December 1st, all online orders receive 30% off. That seems crazy to me, but I read it twice. It's what it says. Plus, on Friday, we may have a little more news to share with you as well, but it is an incredible set of deals. Green Wednesday, November 26th, Black Friday on the 28th. That is, believe it or not, Wednesday and Friday. 25% off at Kansas City Cannabis stores. They've got 5 KC area locations at KC North, Blue Springs, Kearney, Excelsior, and Lottawanna. They've got the right people there to bring you along for whatever your questions may be. This is a great time to show up if you're unsure. You go, hey, I don't really know exactly what I'm looking for, but I heard you guys talked about a whole bunch on this podcast with this sort of eccentric, emotional sports guy. And he said that you have the best bud tenders in the business. Is that true? Go in. I don't know if that'll be enough for them to figure out that you're talking about me or not, or Tucker. Tucker's also an eccentric, emotional sports guy. And you can go in and ask, hey, I'm interested, I'm curious about X, Y, or Z, but I don't really know where to start. They will help you on that process. Kansas City Cannabis is, in fact, the place to begin. Or if you know exactly what you like and you just want an incredible selection at great prices from a Kansas City company, KC Cannabis is there for you as well. No matter what your process, your spot in the process of potentially getting into the cannabis journey, as long as you're 21 and over, nothing better than KC Cannabis. Check them out online at kccannabis.com.
Looking for premium products in Kansas City? Whether you're new to the world of dispensaries or a seasoned enthusiast, we've got just what you're looking for. Proudly Kansas City owned and operated, with 5 convenient locations in Kearney, Blue Springs, Excelsior Springs, KC North, and Lake Lottawanna. And our knowledgeable team can help educate and guide you so you can feel confident in every choice you make. Come see for yourself what makes us the most trusted name in Kansas City.
We got breaking news here on everything else. What you're here for, no doubt. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski says Dylan Gabriel's cleared concussion protocol, but Shedeur Sanders will start versus the 49ers.
Wow. Huge.
I mean, the league's never going to be the same again.
No, I mean...
It simply can't be.
He just needed some reps with the first team, you know?
That's what it was.
Practice. He just needed first team preps and practice, and that's it.
You know what? I really had no intention of giving even one serious Shedeur Sanders take. I do think at this point, here's my one.
Okay.
I have found myself feeling actively hostile towards the Shedeur experience right now. Not his fault. And I am so, you know whose fault it is? Josina Anderson.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's probably her fault.
And the people who are doing that, even like Mel Kiper being like totally beside himself during the draft process. Look, man, you fell in love with a prospect. The league didn't see it the same way. That happens. We've all been there. Can we just be honest? Can we just say like he's had 2 like great yak throws and has picked up the benefits of that? That's fine. You know what?
Right.
The Browns being like somewhat decent would be okay with me. That fan base, I have a soft spot for beleaguered fan bases for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be thrilled for the Browns to have some real competence there. That's okay. You don't have to make him literally Tom Brady instantly. That's all.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Shedeur, especially this game. Played great. He also played the Raiders.
Yeah.
And that's also, I think, too, a lot of the things that Shedeur says, I feel like it's taken out of context.
Yes, again, I don't even really think it's his fault.
I don't think it's, so I saw an Instagram post, I think it was last night, about, like, Shedeur Sanders, and it was like, quote, "I'm what they've been looking for," was the quote.
Great.
And I was like, that is so out of context, because in the clip, she said, the interviewer, I don't know her name, I apologize, but the interviewer said, "What do you want to show your teammates?" And the quote was, and he said that I'm what they've been looking for. And so, like, the answer to that question makes sense,
Yes.
right? Like, you're like, okay,
Yes.
that's not that big of a deal.
No.
But then if you just do the ESPN quote graphic of, I'm what they've been looking for, it comes off so much more pretentious than what he actually meant it. And that is so... Shedeur Sanders doesn't need me to take up pitchforks and torches for him. Justine Anderson's already doing that for him.
Right.
And so, like...
And making it worse.
Yes. And look, I could care less about Shedeur, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if he plays or not, I could care less about the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation. Yeah. But... Sometimes it just feels so disingenuous on both sides with the Shedeur Sanders. Was he a first-round quarterback? No, I don't think he ever was. But was he a fifth-round quarterback? Probably not.
Seemed weird. Seemed a little strange.
It did seem weird. I don't know. The whole thing's weird, and just for them to finally be like, all right, now this is Shedeur Sanders' team is very Cleveland Browns, I will say.
That
Browns.
I think is a great place to leave it. The entire thing is very Cleveland Browns. One piece of news here from just a little bit before the show started, by the way, just to kind of set the stage a little bit looking ahead to Thanksgiving, because obviously the next episode of Everything Else will be Black Friday, and it'll be the day after Chiefs Cowboys, so buckle up for that one, everybody. But Ian Rappaport said earlier that Trey Smith is dealing with both high and low ankle sprains. He's expected to miss some time, I would think so, including likely against the Cowboys on Thursday.
Unreal.
And then I'll go ahead and note, this is with literally this is not a joke, and this is not to make light of it. I don't know that Noah Gray was conscious when he completed that catch that he was injured on, which is kind of amazing. Diabetic King Noah Gray. Obviously, just wish him the best, and hope he was walking off on his own in the tunnel. I saw a little clip of that, so you hope for the best there. But concussion protocol, you're not clearing that by Thursday unless you've. I just can't imagine, and that's not something you want to rush through and play fast and loose with. So, hoping for the best for Noah Gray, but you have to assume Trey Smith and Noah Gray probably aren't going to be out there on Thursday.
Yeah.
But you know who didn't get ruled out today? Who I thought might? This man right here, Tucker D. Franklin. He put in some Tucker D work yesterday at Arrowhead. I was fortunate enough to get some of the group chat updates throughout your day. I listened to the episode of that football show that you and Matt Verderam recorded after Sunday Night Football. You put your voice out on the line for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think you put your liver on the line for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I did.
I just want to know how your nice, relaxing, calm day at Arrowhead went yesterday.
Yeah, I went back and I looked at my Twitter to see like what my tweets were.
You had one or two that I almost texted you about. I forgot.
I had some good ones in there. Shout out to all the people, all the fans around us in our section 111 down there that were very. Look, I got to know those people very, very good.
It's a beautiful thing about being at a game.
And yeah, so Jackie says, and it's good to know that Tucker isn't one of the fans that go to a game and stay quiet.
No, God.
No, that wasn't it. I had some words for personnel choices, even standing in the stadium of who is this guy on the field. Why is Clyde in? I actually one time, funny story.
Where is Big Bob?
Right, give me some Big Bob. A funny story. So I saw Clyde was in the game, and I said, "Oh God!" I saw him in the huddle. I was like, "Why is Clyde in the game?" I was obviously shouting. Right, didn't have any volume control at this point in the inebriation, and I said, "He's gonna run inside zone directly into Trey Smith's back." And that's what happened. And one dude turned around and looked at me, and he shook my hand and said, "You're a good fan."
I mean, that is as gratifying of an experience, I think, as you can have as a football guy.
Yeah,
that's
right.
awesome.
It was phenomenal. I didn't get the man's name, but it was a good experience over there in section 111. We left that game, and I was like, I genuinely don't know how the Chiefs won that football game. And not because I was, like, so inebriated, because I was. But, like, I just, like, genuinely had no clue how they won that football game in a general football sense.
I found the tweet that I did think, like, people know you, so it's okay. But if I saw anyone else tweet the phrase, I'm actively ready to become a problem at Arrowhead Stadium, I would consider it. I know it's not a threat. I know you didn't mean it as a threat. But in other contexts, I think that could be construed as perhaps threatening.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what. At one point I tweeted, "This is the worst day of my life." I wonder what was going on there.
Yes.
And then I also did tweet out that because I realized I'm really close to the area X Factor was knocked out.
I saw that too. Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really glad that you didn't recreate that fully because it seemed like that could have been.
I didn't have a hat that could go up.
No, that's important. You did have a hell of a fit on though. By the way, I knew what you were. I didn't know what the T-shirt was going to be. We've texted about the jacket. I had seen the jacket a number of times, but just an absolute game day heater by you.
I appreciate it, yeah. And my caption of "If the Chiefs don't win, I'll be sad," I thought was a very good one.
It was.
as well. No, it felt good. It was one of those that felt good off the hand. When I put it together and trying to figure out, I'm trying to timestamp. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm trying to timestamp of like when
did it turn
a problem?
Yeah,
you know, when what play was it that was like, this is the final straw. I'm going to become a problem. But no, overall, great day out at Arrowhead. Phenomenal. It's always great to get there and obviously see a Chiefs win. Shout out to my buddy KB, who is a Colts fan.
Oh,
he texted me this morning and said, "I haven't felt this bad about the Colts since they lost to the Jaguars with, was that maybe Matt Ryan, when they had a playoff game on the line." He's like, I have not felt that bad since they lost like basically a play-in playoff game about the Colts.
And like, here's the kind of crazy thing. And again, this is just the AFC. The Colts are not safe. Like they are not like the 1 seed by a margin. They're 1 game up on the Jags and 2 games up on the Texans, and they end the. You talked about. I was like, where did I hear that? I think I heard this on you and Matt Verdi talking about that on that football show.
Yes.
You were hungover, and I was listening to it at 2 times speed. The Colts are 8-3 again. Jags are 1 game back. Texans are 2 games back. The Colts go Texans, Jags, Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans.
So pretty good defenses in there.
Their whole the 4 divisional games that matter, they haven't played yet. Their only divisional games so far were 2 wins over the Titans.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah.
So I shout out to KB. Concerned for his well-being, but glad that he was presumably a good sport yesterday. I don't know. It would have been very hard to not be puffing out your chest when Kareem Hunt loses that ball in the red zone. But it would have been a tough walk to the parking lot, I think, either way.
Yeah, it was. Vibes were not high in the stadium after the Kareem Hunt fumble. I still don't like how they won that football game. Kind of towards the end, you already talked about how like the defense kind of stood on their head, and Jonathan Taylor like was hit behind the line of scrimmage for like a record number of times or something like that ever in football.
I didn't even give the Jonathan Taylor like box score stat line. We got some stuff happening outside, not like directly just going by. There we go. Look at that. Honk honk. Jonathan Taylor, 16 for 58. And the Chiefs have done this. They've done this to number 1 running backs all year long. I think James Cook was the only one that like actually had. Yeah, he broke 100 yards. James Cook is the only one that even I think got terribly close to that. Most of the other guys really very, very limited. I think Justice Hill might still be in second because he broke off that late one in garbage time. But an unbelievable day for the Chiefs defense that way. So when you did just like sort of have some of the bubble start to settle in your belly or liver or brain or whatever.
Yeah.
How did they win that game? Like what is your like actual takeaway of answering that question for yourself? Like, wait, what did I just see? Like who gets the first line of credit for you?
I think it has to be the defense. I saw this from the Next Gen stats about Jonathan Taylor. He only forced 3 missed tackles and a season low 10 yards after forcing a missed tackle.
Wow,
which is incredible. He was hit behind the line of scrimmage at a season high rate of 62.5%. Only averaged 0.7 yards before contact, well below his 1.3 season averages per Next Gen stats, obviously. And the Colts had to move away, like from the run game a little bit in the second half and overtime. He only had 9 carries while calling pass plays on 69% of their offensive snaps in the second half and overtime. Yeah, their second highest rate after halftime this season. And one of the things I talked about kind of in this game, and I talked about it on Friday, is how good they were in play action.
Yes,
as well.
Yes,
and the Chiefs defense played really well against play action, and they still ran like 40% play action plays. Truthfully, even in this game, and the Chiefs just kind of did what they did. And I do think a big part of that does have to do with, you brought it up already, their ability to pressure Daniel Jones. Like, their ability to pressure Daniel Jones in this situation was incredibly crucial. I believe it was like 5% higher than Daniel Jones' average of pressure.
That sounds about right.
So that's really what it came down to. He was 6 of 13 versus pressure for 47 yards and a touchdown, and that touchdown was obviously within 5 yards.
Right.
So it's like not necessarily that. That was right in my lap, by the way, too.
Oh, God, what was – I mean, and is that the second play from scrimmage?
Yeah, that was the drive that Mahomes threw that RPO. And I said, just hand it off. What are we doing?
Yeah. Did they hear you think?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he did. But, yeah, I just saw Joe Burrow posted on Instagram that he's back, but it's him in a LeBron uniform from Cleveland. It just says he's back.
That's good.
That's kind of funny.
That's fun. I wonder what age Joe Burrow is in that picture. I have seen that photo before. That's a classic.
It is a good one.
I'm glad you mentioned the run defense again. I was just kind of checking out the snap counts where there's a real drop off. It's fascinating. The top. Let's see here. Cook, Bolton, Connor, Watson, McDuffie, Tranquil, Jones, Karlaftis. Those are your big 8 in this game. Those guys all played between 84 and 100% of the snaps. That's the top several were all 100. Tranquil played almost every snap, missed 3. Jones sat for 6. Karlaftis for 8. And then Aminahu, Chanel, Chris Rowland Wallace, who left with a back injury, Gelati, Dana, Hicks, Pinnell, Noddy, a couple of snaps for Tillery, 1 for Christian Fulton. The rest of the snap count there. They were really, really good at not allowing the Colts to get into those easy down and distances. That was kind of the thing that seems like a pretty easy cheat code. Hand it to Jonathan Taylor, get 6 yards. Now it's 2nd and 4, play action. Daniel Jones is going to find somebody. And on at least one of those, where Jones did have the open man in space, he just missed him because Chris Jones was crushing the pocket.
Right.
Unbelievable that Daniel Jones did not take a sack in this game. It is that is the most. This is a perfect game to just refute. But how many sacks did he have? Because the pass rush had a really, really good day against a quarterback who is very much bothered by the pressure, and they did it without ever actually bringing him down behind the line of scrimmage, which is crazy.
Which, when you look at his numbers too, Daniel Jones attempted 31 passes in under 2.5 seconds. So they were getting the ball out of his hands pretty quick. Only completed 17 of those. That's a 54.8% completion percentage. That is above his average of 42.9 completion percentage usually, but it was only 72 yards on 12 completions on quick passes. So
and I wonder what happens at the start of the fourth quarter in some of the
right.
I would love the splits of fourth quarter and overtime. I mean, I know what the splits are. They didn't get a first down.
yeah, right. In overtime, Daniel Jones was not good. I mean, it was 3 for 9 or something like that for 22 yards. It might have been.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's just off the top of the head, but I think, it has to come down to the defense, and obviously the offense performed when they needed to perform, and I think that's kind of the big thing, kind of what I talked about on that football show as well, and what you've already talked about here today is that man, wasn't it nice to show that the Chiefs can still do the Chiefs thing?
Yes.
Of just all right, we'll go ahead and take over and win a football game now. That felt good to see that.
It did feel good to I forgot about this until you mentioning it now, but listening this morning was Tucker's saying a bunch of things that I'm going to say later. But I texted Tucker last night. Here's my big thing. Here's my big thing. It's this take. And then you're on that football show. And here's the big thing. We get here today. Here's the big. It just is.
Yeah.
It's just the thing that matters because it's the thing that's been missing. Where again, all the underlying metrics. They go, the Chiefs should be better than 5-5 or whatever. That's all fine and dandy, but it doesn't mean anything until you do it.
Yeah.
The Chiefs' offense got more than enough opportunities to score their 14 points in the fourth quarter and overtime, and it was 3 for 9 for 17 for Daniel Jones in the fourth quarter.
17, not 22. Dang it.
And I don't know what the actual stat count was for him in overtime, but again, I know they didn't get a first down, so less than 10. And actually, less than that. I can start to narrow it down, but just a vitally important thing to be able to show that gear is still accessible. I want to talk about the one little bit of news that broke right after the game yesterday, a little bit of an addition, and we can do a smidge of Cowboys talk perhaps, plus one incredible bit of just straight up football that was played yesterday that I want to talk about. I want to show you the highlight, and I just want to yell about for a while because it's just pure football. But you're talking about a football guy. We'll see that during this break.
Missouri, big news. It's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. No wonder it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. The countdown is on. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply, subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are not withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, let's talk about the news a little bit because I think I don't know. This is a moment where I wish we could phone a friend and just get 30 seconds from Jordan Foote because I think I know he was a Dameon Pierce fan. I don't know if you had a strong opinion pre-draft, but the Texans released Dameon Pierce right after Thursday Night Football. I think
right before the game. Yeah.
He had obviously been kind of sliding down the depth chart there. Had a really nice rookie season. Ended up getting injured and just I don't think had been the same guy since then. Which it's not like the Texans have a super healthy or deep running back room. In fact, they've been dealing with injuries in that room for a while. Yeah. But they let Pierce go, and the Chiefs have almost officially this morning, it sounds like, have agreed to terms with him to join the practice squad. I say almost because I haven't seen the corresponding move yet. Which opens up the possibility that the Chiefs could have 7 running backs on their 70-man roster.
Hell yeah.
10% of their roster could be running backs by the end of the day because I imagine it's not going to be Clyde in the corresponding move. Carson Steele is on the practice squad, and then, of course, Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith, Kareem Hunt, and Isaiah Pacheco are all on the active roster. So there's a large stable of running backs, but I think this makes all the sense in the world. He seems like he should be a relatively logical fit into the offense. I'd be pretty surprised if we saw him on Thursday, but throw another body into the running back mix. If you just simply do not want to see Elijah Mitchell on the field for whatever reason, keep taking shots, and there weren't going to be any others opening up after the trade deadline. That's where I'm at. Where are you at on Dameon Pierce?
Yeah, I think it's more of like, let's throw another log on the fire.
Yep.
Let's throw another log on the fire, another one in the machine. Because this is an attrition position, you're obviously seeing 30 carries for Kareem Hunt, which is like the most he's ever had in his whole entire life, I think. Don't fact check me on that.
I bet he had something nuts in high school.
Yeah,
I bet he had like 40 carries in high school or something.
He had to go nuts.
Someone needs to ask him about that this week. That's a fun idea.
Yeah, you guys can have that idea. I will. So with Dameon Pierce, he had that really big rookie season, right?
Yep.
900 yards. He had a little bit of injury problems, all lower body injuries. I think he has an ankle, a hamstring, maybe a knee, but they're all lower body injuries, kind of slowing him down a little bit. What I've kind of taken away from this, look, he was cut. Right,
yep,
they laid him off.
Yes,
is what happened.
I like that a lot.
I don't know if he got a severance package. We'll have to ask.
Yes.
But he got laid off, and now the Chiefs are in a spot where they need to bring in a running back, and I think he becomes maybe the best running back on their roster, which is like kind of sad because he was just cut by another team. Yeah. And
he's also only 25, so like he's got several years on Kareem Hunt.
Yeah. And that's what's so kind of like disheartening about it is like he got cut and immediately I was like, is he the best running back on the roster?
Yeah.
And I do at some points feel that way, but at least having him in the running back rotation does make you feel a little bit better. Especially the Elijah Mitchell signing, I think might go down as one of the most confusing free agent signings in not NFL history, possibly Brett Veach history.
Yeah, and almost top 2 this offseason.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I was excited about the Christian Fulton signing, and then yesterday, 2 games in a row with no defensive snaps for Noah Williams, and the only times I noticed Christian Fulton yesterday were when he was getting beat by a gunner on special teams, and Josh Williams has been inactive the last 2 weeks for Fulton to be active, which I think makes sense defensively, and Josh Williams has had his penalty problems on special teams. Mm-hmm. You know what? Let's not talk about special teams anymore. I don't actually, believe it or not, I don't actually subscribe to the theory that if you don't have anything nice to say, you should say nothing at all. I actually believe in the power of saying not nice things, but not today. Maybe Friday.
Yeah, we are.
I'm in a good mood.
Good vibes only.
Good vibes.
Here. Yeah, we're only doing good vibes.
The vibes
today.
were thin. We foraged some. The Chiefs dug some up, and they worked overtime to find some vibes.
Vibe rationing.
We're enjoying the vibes. I'm not going to talk about special teams.
Nope.
Or how, as I mentioned earlier, the Chiefs' offense succeeded in spite of their own special teams.
Yeah, they did do that.
Chiefs defense too. I mean, again, like one of these teams had good field position all day, and one of them had crummy field position all day. But I'm not talking about the special teams.
I don't know how to talk more about special teams.
Also fair. They're going bad, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like the entire NFL seems like it's pretty close because all of the rules have changed, and so it's like it just feels like everybody starts at the 30.
Yeah.
Where the Chiefs don't. Dave Tobe said last week they're 22nd in the league from their own metrics. So I don't feel like we're saying anything crazy.
No, I think that Dave Tobe is actually generous in that.
And I don't know who pulls the levers. I think he might have mentioned like who's actually like putting those together. And I just if they were average, we would never talk about them in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure.
If they were just average. So congratulations, Dameon Pierce. I imagine we probably won't see him in Dallas. I mean, he'll probably travel to Dallas.
Maybe.
But I don't think we'll see him sit up in Dallas, probably. But I don't know about Isaiah Pacheco. He got ruled out on Friday, which is kind of spooky. But
he
man,
practiced a little bit, right? He was full, and then he was limited both on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
so.
and Matt Derrick did mention also that he was wearing like an offensive lineman caliber knee brace.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's good.
So that's concerning. But no IR stint for him, obviously. He was like, was this game 4 or was next? Would Cowboy be game 4?
I don't, because he got hurt against the Commanders.
I'm choosing to find Zane and some roster spot stuff, and so like him, like if he's been actually week to week and it just takes 4 weeks or 4 games instead of 3, like fine, whatever. I understand not wanting to put him on IR to guarantee he's going to miss those 4.
This would be 4 against the Cowboys, so he would have missed the Bills game, the bye week, the Broncos, the Colts. Wait, no, I think I counted the bye week, and then this one would be
the 4th game.
4th game in 5th week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And hey, look, you can think this way if you win games. Having him back for the playoffs might be the most important thing. You just have to make sure you're playing in them and that it's not just so he can watch the playoffs in full health from home or whatever. So, final little vibe thing on the Chiefs before we switch gears ever so slightly and just talk about what I think was my favorite football play of the weekend.
Ooh.
You've talked about this game plenty. I don't know why you don't, you listen to that football show with Matt Verderame and Tucker Franklin.
Yeah,
it's good.
That's my last, that should be my last thought. Listen to that football show where I don't have a voice.
It's pretty funny.
I don't have a voice in that podcast. I really relied on Matt like Jordan relied on Scottie Pippen.
I like that you're still Jordan. I think that's
no, right, because Scottie Pippen was better and carried the team.
Perfect. Good take. I think that's excellent.
That's right.
Okay, so speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, a rookie on the Dallas Cowboys named Elijah Clark had my favorite play of the weekend. On the video feed, we'll show it to you. We're going to loop it a few times. The audio feed, I'll describe it. If you haven't seen it, it's worth going to find on social. When it happened, I saw it live at home, and I literally, like, Renee was doing something on her phone. Hey, wait, you should look at this. This is actually extremely cool and extremely football in a way that you don't see very often. Right. It's also great camera work from the Fox crew here. Go ahead and hit it, and I'll try to do the play-by-play. He stumbles out of his break. He's a gunner on special teams. His blocker shoves him to the ground. He tumbles. He shoves him again. He tumbles. He gets back to his feet. He is still running. He takes this huge angle, closes in, makes the hit, and forces a fumble on the return man. This is effort, hit, down, up, down. This dude hits the ground 3 times before finally getting away. He is still just reading and strafing and looking and closing. Boom! That's football, baby.
That is football.
That is pure special teams gritty football. On his back at the 50. He is on the ground at the star. This play's like a 10-second rep.
Yeah.
And he's just taking punishment and then delivers it. That's the good stuff.
My favorite part about this is the tackle because it's not like he peanut punched it.
No.
That was head. That was face mask on
ball
the
with his
football.
face.
Yes, face mask on the football, pops it out, puts the Cowboys in a perfect opportunity. I think were they down in this situation? I think they were still down in the game. Or
yeah, it had been very back and forth,
yes.
and very missed opportunity, and who's going to make the next mistake?
Yes.
I could watch. We could have looped this for the entire hour of the show today. I'm not sure I ever would have gotten sick of it. It's such a good play.
Yeah, it is. It is a really, and especially, you get knocked down on your ass twice. It's really going to be super easy for you to just kind of chalk that one up.
Like, okay, I guess I'm playing safety.
Yeah,
I'm just I gotta at least make sure nothing gets behind me. He loses his footing at his own 40. He is touching the star at the 50, and he makes the play, putting his head on the football at the 10.
Yeah,
Woo! Fires me up.
it's a great play. I mean, that is. I think I saw somebody in like the replies to this video that was when it was tweeted out. It was like I said, imagine if all the stars played this hard too.
Yeah, this is the dream.
So like him,
This is what when Travis Kelce loses his mind in the playoffs and has this energy out of his 36-year-old body.
Right.
That's what this feels like.
yeah, no, it's a great play.
Oh, I love it.
And here's the other thing about there's nothing that really beats a nice special teams like tackle, right? Like
Yeah.
a good special teams performance. You love a good special teams performance, but phenomenal play.
Phenomenal. Appreciate just the credit there was NFL on Fox and just an unbelievable great piece of camera work, great piece of special teams play. And so now, as long as Christian Fulton can block that guy this week, Thursday.
Matt said on the I don't know if you listened to the whole podcast.
I listened to the whole thing. Doesn't mean I retained even half of it.
So Matt, I think towards the end of it said like in 100 hours. And
Yes.
I said, wait a second. Like that caught me. I pulled up the calculator. It's like 100 divided by 24. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
I start doing hour math like when I do start getting close to a deadline. And the thing that I start doing is I start removing the hours that I would like to be asleep. I'm thinking, okay, so if this game is in 100 hours,
Right.
I'm working for this many hours. This project, getting all of like my Chiefs pregame show stuff prepped, that's going to be this many hours. Okay, so I can sleep here maybe. And then my video game time. Where's my video game time's gone? My sleep time's disappeared. Okay, I got to pick between the two. It is a brutal turnaround. Probably no Trey Smith. Probably no Noah Gray. I would have probably preferred that the Eagles just get that done yesterday because I don't love that the Cowboys have like this frisky, like, you know what? Maybe we're putting it together. The defense has been better. The offense has always been good. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are a couple of absolute aliens in that passing game. Dak still spinning it. I wouldn't have minded them just kind of having some low vibes and maybe just kind of being ready for a little sad day at home and Thanksgiving. And instead, this might be the most juice the Cowboys have had in a little while, and it's the biggest Thanksgiving game they've had in quite some time.
They're dealing with obviously the tragedy, right? That happened around
that too.
around that team, and then they've got a lot of momentum with the big Monday night win against the Raiders. They come back with a big Sunday night win against the Eagles. And
It was Sunday afternoon, which I only mentioned because I also thought it was Sunday Night Football at one point because I got home and I drove home in pitch black darkness.
Right.
And I turned on Red Zone. And I was like, wait a second. It's not 7:45 right now?
Yeah,
the Chiefs never play at noon?
Yeah, that really threw me off. And I was
so weird.
I was telling Matt this when we were watching when I watched that game. I got home, I was like, man, the Eagles are rolling. I fell asleep and I woke up and Tara's like, yeah, the Cowboys won. I was like, what?
It's like, what happened?
That was
what day is it?
Right. I didn't know where I was. So that also helped out too. But
huge shout out to Tara, I assume.
She clutched it up, man.
Sounds like she had
Holy
her
cow.
hands full yesterday.
Yeah, she was a saint, an absolute saint. But no, that game is going to. I was thinking about that, like how quickly that game is coming up. I obviously will not be live on Thanksgiving. I hope you guys understand.
Yeah,
will not
fair.
be live on Thanksgiving. I'll still be live Wednesday. We'll be live Friday.
I'll be live for 3 hours before the game on the Chiefs Radio Network. Give you a little cross promo there because that's not a time that everybody wants to be doing pregame shows. Boy, I'll tell you what. Maybe I'll just admit this here, in the final moments of this edition of Everything Else. It is just I am so glad the Chiefs won that game because the alternative was like, okay, so it would have been the 5-6 Chiefs against the 5-1 Cowboys, and we're here on Thanksgiving. And, the season's not over, but they can't lose again. And just the energy would have been so bad. I feel so rejuvenated now. Nothing's guaranteed, but, man, I feel so much better.
Or I think you brought this up, actually, about there was a real possibility that we were going to be doing shows on Thanksgiving and Christmas that didn't mean anything.
Yep.
And that would have taken a lot out of my will to live.
At that point, I mean, we haven't lived the life that we lived in the early 2010s or much of the
Right.
2000s or
Yeah.
whatever. And obviously, we weren't working then. We
Yeah.
were fans enjoying football. And there were times as a youngin when I would it'd be late in the third quarter and I'd say I've seen enough of Brody Croyle. I'm going to go outside and play football with my friends because
Right.
you can't
Touch some grass.
I can't tell that to Nick Springer in the production studio at the radio
Nick,
station.
I'm gonna go outside and play football with my friends.
Hey Nick,
You're
listen,
not invited.
Listen, man. Well, I need you to stay here, but if you can push some buttons, you can do whatever. I got some friends in the parking lot to throw the ball around with because I don't want to cover football that doesn't matter. And again, these next two games against a couple of Texas teams are going to be absolutely huge. And we go straight from Thanksgiving football to Sunday night football against that Texans pass rush that looked like a pack of dogs on Thursday. Yeah. But that's a whole game away. That's almost 2 full weeks. Woo.
Yeah. And Tara and I were trying to figure out like our weekend plans, right, for Thanksgiving. And I was like, okay, when did the Chiefs play? And then I forgot they played on Thanksgiving. And I was like, wow, it's going to be a free Sunday.
Yeah, free Sunday.
Free Sunday to just watch football, probably.
That is 100% what happens to me every time. It's like, and anytime someone's like, hey, so, like the Chiefs bye week even, it was like, hey, we're going to do like a Friendsgiving thing on Sunday. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, that works. Like, yeah, but I'm going to miss a Sunday night football game that probably wasn't good anyway.
Right, yeah.
There's nothing hits like Red Zone on a Sunday, even though it'll be a thinner slate, I suppose. It'll be fun.
Yeah, well, because there's a Black Friday game as well. So
Oh,
it's
there
like
is. You're
there's
right.
gonna be 4 games before
you know what?
the Sunday
I'll,
slate.
you know what? Twist my arm. I'll watch football on Friday too, if you insist. I'll go ahead.
When is that Black Friday game? Is it night?
It's got to be right.
I remember when the Chiefs played Black Friday because Friday. Oh my gosh!
I mean, when we played Black Friday.
When the Chiefs played on Black Friday, I went to the game and Tara and I went to that one.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, so like that was the thing is I remember the game was a super early start time
2 o'clock Central. Bears Eagles
in Chicago or in
Philly.
In Philly.
We'll be doing this show. We'll wrap it up.
And we'll
By
be
the time-
watching
and
Bears
we'll go watch
Eagles.
Bears Eagles. Hell yeah!
That's kind of sick. A little pregame show.
All right. Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts, the Chiefs season is either over or they're in the Super Bowl. We'll have those answers for you on Friday. Another huge thanks to the people here at the Majestic. It's an awesome location here inside the historic Fitzpatrick Saloon building. More than 100 years of Kansas City history, and it has been so many things over that century, and you can feel the history in this building. It is so cool. It is such a incredibly unique, incredibly cool place to be in, and it's going to get some Christmas cheer setting up in here pretty soon. They are open. They're closed on Thanksgiving, right, Tucker?
Closed on Thanksgiving, yes.
So closed on Thanksgiving, but open around it, and they've got live jazz here throughout the week. The Pendergast Cigar Lounge, we did the show from up there a few episodes back.
Yeah.
That's Tuesday through Saturday. A huge selection of spirits, including Holiday Distillery's very own. You can book them on opentable.com, or you want to get the direct links and learn more about the Majestic. That's at majestickKC.com. Plus, another big thanks to Kansas City Cannabis, kccannabis.com, but an awesome partner of ours here at Everything Else. That's all I got. You can look at Tucker's incredible Creed shirt. We're going to probably, I was going to say get some rest, but that's not true because now we're even less than 100 hours away from Chiefs Cowboys. I'm going to polish off some of this coffee. We're going to figure out what's up next. The Chiefs are having all of their press conferences tomorrow. We'll have the usual slate of KCSN shows trying to just burn through what we can get. Is the lab on Wednesday? They holding strong?
Nope. So the lab is actually going to go lab tonight, and then you'll have only wear games tomorrow, Tuesday. Wednesday, actually, in place of lab is going to be 5 things. So 5 things.
Oh yeah, we have to. Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The game's on Thursday, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So I think I have amateur hour going Wednesday morning at usual time, and then it'll be 5 things instead of the KC Laboratory. But the KC Laboratory will have a show, obviously, on the back half. I think we'll probably record Friday for like a Saturday release.
Beautiful.
And you guys will do Friday or something. We'll figure
I don't know.
it
I
out.
honestly haven't talked about that 1 second. I kind of thought, we might just weird games might be a Tuesday. I don't know.
I have it mapped out. So
I'm around.
We can get it, but
I will not do it during the Black Friday football game though, because I need to be dialed into every second of Bears Eagles.
No,
because it's
that's
another day of
fair.
NFL football. So
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
I get it for sure, but yeah, we'll let you guys know. I know I had some people ask us about like the Thanksgiving schedule, just because everything's weird, and even leading up to it, I think we're gonna probably space some shows out, but like especially, I mean, the amateur hour guys wanted to go after that Colts game. Of course, I understand we got to get that. We'll figure out where that football show will slate in. We'll see if Matt and I record on Friday or it might be a Saturday. We might do like a Sunday release. Right?
I assume that football show will be recorded at your lowest, whatever that is. If that's like fresh off of a big Thanksgiving dinner, if that's just, I feel like at this point you are now on a path to just do the hardest shows you can, and it's because you're built different.
You know what would be really interesting, and I've talked about this before. I know we're trying to close the show, but Matt and I have talked about how like we don't really go live because I don't really know whatever Matt's going to say, and I like to title it around what Matt says. Right?
Oh, not because you need a delay on him.
Right,
sure.
But like, how funny would it be? And usually we record these shows at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. If we just like went live at 11 p.m.
I think you should. I think that's great. I think just do it. Just do it and really sink in. I think Verderam would probably thrive in the full knowledge of a live environment with no safety net.
No, I think I should not tell him it's live, and it'll be live. And so I'll be like, all right, here we go, coming down, 3, 2, and 1. It's that football show here, and like as we're like act like I'm recording it, right?
And then, like, why does it say there are 800 people watching this right now? It's kind of weird.
He's like, there's a comment. Why are people talking about this right now?
Why are we getting a live comment section reacting to the things that we're saying? This is the big secret of that football show. Matt Verderam, not a smart man, just not very sharp, just doesn't know what's going on.
You guys, he's been trying to start a beef with you for so long, and intra-podcast beef. So this is good. I'm going to tell him that you said he wasn't smart, so that we can have an intra-podcast. We can have an intra-podcast network beef. So people have to tune in, and we boost ratings by beefing our hosts together.
Not the other thing. It's not the other thing.
Whoops.
Bye, Mom. Woo! This was fun. This is a good show. I had something else I was going to... Verderam will 100%. I'll put a bill down right now. As soon as you say that, he's going to say, well, at least my pancreas works.
Oh, no.
I can... You can't see, because we're obviously the show's over and we're just talking to each other and no one else can hear us. But if anyone could, I feel like I can sit like. At least my pancreas works.
I love it when my favorite part is like when Verderam hops on the show. I sometimes have no clue where he's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like he's like, oh, maybe I'm here, maybe I'm there, maybe I'm in a random hotel room in the middle of Plainfield, Indiana. Who knows?
That's what he does. He's on the road. He's a journalist.
He's a road dog.
Road dog. I think my Verderam impression is not too far away from a Napoleon Dynamite, like an aggressive Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah.
A vile Napoleon Dynamite.
Well, he's Italian, so I mean, well, big news. I found out I was 53% Italian the other day. So Verderam and I are basically related.
Yeah, you guys are like cousins, effectively.
I don't feel like I look Italian though. That'd be 53% Italian. They must have got my spit mixed up with someone else's. There's no way.
What were you and Verderam doing before the DNA test?